It's Friday, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for Fast Friday. Today's episode of Fast Radio is brought to you by One Life. One Life is a pending nonprofit that believes if you teach a man how to fish, he can feed himself for a lifetime. At One Life, resources and finances come together and are used to help people from all over the world to start small businesses. These small businesses will help not only themselves, but others as well. If you would like to get more information about One Life, check out current projects, or join in on one of the many mission trips, please visit jameslyke.com/onelife. That's jameslyke.com/onelife. One life to live, one life to make a difference. Welcome to this episode of Fast Friday. I'm your host, James Lyke, and I'm with you every single Friday for just a little jolt of encouragement to get you through the weekend and to help you get started the first of the week on the best foot possible. Hey, this week I wanted to talk to you about choices. Choices. Your life is a series of choices. From the time that you begin to start making choices on your own as a small kid until you die and leave this world, you will be inundated with hundreds of choices every single day. Life is full of choices. And those choices that you make, some will be minuscule. Some will be so small that it really doesn't matter. Like, where am I going to have lunch today? Or what outfit am I going to wear today? And as a side note, I really like what Steve Jobs decided to do, because he wanted to limit the amount of choices that he had to make every day so that he could keep brain power for other things. And he writes in his book that he bought the same outfit. He wore the same outfit every single day. Not the same exact outfit, but he would buy 5 or 6 pairs of the same pants, 5 or 6 shirts, and then he had his shoes, and then, of course, his socks and underwear and all of that. But he had it online to where he would get it automatically shipped to him every few months so that his closet stayed full of new and fresh clothes, and he didn't have to worry about them deteriorating. But anyway, he wanted to limit the choices that he had to make every day. But how many minutes a day do you spend, especially the ladies? And there's some guys out there that are, pretty high maintenance as well, but the ladies can spend 10 minutes every day figuring out, do I want this pair of pants with this shirt? Do I want to wear these shoes today, or am I going to wear these other shoes? You take time to go look at the weather app to see if the pair of shoes that I chose are going to be good if it rains, or if it's hot, or if it's cold, etc., etc. You have tons of choices every single day. And the reason I wanted to talk about choices are because choices come with consequences. And that can be good or bad consequences. Just this week, we had 2 people that were close to our team, our real estate team, that passed away. One of those was a tenant of ours, and he passed away, I believe, on Saturday. And then the other was my assistant's grandmother, who passed away on Monday morning. And as I thought about both of their lives and what I knew about both of them, I started thinking about choices. You see, the tenant that passed away was a former military veteran who came home from the war and ended up being hooked on drugs. He had kids that we weren't even aware of until we found out he was passed and had to go and search for the next of kin. But he had kids that never cared to see him. He had ex-wives that didn't care to see him. And for his next of kin, he had to use his sister. And when I called to tell his sister what happened, the hospital where he died had called us looking for information on his next of kin. And so it took him 3 days to find somebody that knew what to do with this man's body. And the reason I tell you all that is to tell you that the choices that he made, the choices that he made early on in life and the choices he made throughout his life. By the way, a very grumpy man and a very lonely man. And he always treated our team, let's just put it point blank, like crap. He called all the time and he griped all the time. But his choices to use drugs, his choices to allow his family to alienate him because of the way that he treated them or the way that he allowed them to treat him, whatever that is. Now, there's always two stories, but whatever that was, his choices caused him to be in the situation where when he died, it took 3 days for them to find next of kin. Then we look at my assistant's grandmother, and I hear the stories about her and her husband having been married for more than 50 years, having been in ministry for all of those years, reaching out to people, loving on people, pulling people out of drug addiction, pulling people out of alcoholism, being there for people with mental illness, and watching them like get saved to the Lord, and literally being a rock for so many people for so many years as a pastor. They too had a choice. And they made the choice early on that they were going to follow Christ. They made the choice early on that they were going to do the right things and the good things. And I'm sure that they made bad choices themselves through the years. Everyone makes a bad choice every now and then. Sometimes it seems like it's a good choice, but maybe it turns out that it wasn't the right choice. And listen, like, nobody's perfect. But they made choices to where it set them up to where at the end of life, when she passed away, she had a husband that was heartbroken. She had a husband that is trying to figure out how he's going to go on with life because he's so in love with this woman. When she passed away, she had family that dropped everything that they were doing and flew halfway across the country to go and be there. Even though she wasn't there, they went to be there to help make arrangements, to be there for the family, to love on each other, because they made a choice that, hey, we're going to raise a family and we're going to be a loving family and we're going to do the best we can to make great decisions and great choices. And you have two different lives. You have a life well lived and you have a life that wasn't well lived. Obviously, I wish both of these folks would rest in peace and would find the peace, especially for this tenant, that he would find the peace that he couldn't find on this earth, that he would find it in eternity. But you have some choices, my friend. You have some choices to make. And right now, you may be sitting at the fork in the road of choices that need to be made. And you're trying to figure out which one's right and which one's wrong. When all else fails, go with the gut. Choose the right path. And if you end up choosing the wrong path, figure out how to make a U-turn and get back on the right path. Don't let one bad choice turn into 2, 3, 4, 50, 100, 200 bad choices and get to the end of your life and look back and have a life full of regret or a life full of hurt, a life full of sorrow, or a life full of loneliness. Make good choices. Strike out today. Strike out today in the good way. Strike out and make a great choice to go on with your life and to make your life better and better. Thank you guys for listening today. If you would, I want to support you. I want to hold you accountable. If you're listening on Facebook, make a comment below, or you can direct message me. Let me know what choices you have facing you. Let me know what choices that you are being confronted with at the moment. And let me see if I can help you. I'd love to give you a hand and help you get to the next level. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it. Please share it with someone that you know would bring value to. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening, whether that's iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast app today. And I'll be thankful. And I thank you for being a listener every single Friday. Looking forward to having some great guests come on here in the near future. But until then, have a great weekend, and I wish you much freedom and much success. Thank you for listening to Fast Radio. If today's episode brought you value, please take a moment and leave us a review on Facebook, Stitcher, iTunes, or wherever it is that you're listening today. The more reviews, the better position we have to make a difference in others' lives. Until next time, much freedom and much success. Have a great weekend.